Hey gang, welcome to another episode of the Radults podcast. This episode we are joined by graphic designer and artist Zachary Smith Cameron. He's done artwork for the Australian comic book I Am Ned, and we will jump into this conversation right about now.
Hey Zach, for the listeners that are out here, who are you, what do you do, and why are you here?
Oh my god, hello.
Oh no,
Yeah.
why are you here?
That's so much pressure. It's true, I am Zach Smith Cameron. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. I'm here, I guess, because you invited me, and I actually wasn't 100% sure why, but I guess it's just to talk art and comics and all that kind of stuff, because I'm a bit of a pop culture guy.
How did you get in to being Zach the graphic designer?
Oh, right. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where people say, oh, when did you start drawing, or how did you get into drawing?
Yeah.
But it's never been not a thing for me. I've always been drawing just since I was like a little kid. And I've always had this thing, and you know, like I think when you're young, you think you're gonna, you know, I'm gonna be a cartoonist, and that's what I had in my mind actually. All through like my younger years, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a cartoonist, and I didn't really know what that meant. And then it's like, oh, uni's here. I guess I'll choose like a thing to kind of do. I guess graphic design's kind of like drawing, because I didn't want to just like, you know, do a fine arts course and become like a painter or something. And so yeah, I got into graphic design that way, and it's actually been really good for like informing, you know, like composition in your art and all that kind of thing. And I really do like doing graphic design as well, like doing all the kind of cool 80s text and things like that, like your guys' logo, which I really love, by the way. Yeah, so just been, yeah, like it's kind of an evolution of just illustration, so it's just another good thing to have in the tool of tricks.
Do you think you'd always want to do something to do with art and graphic design?
Yeah, there was this thing I was watching a while ago where they were talking about, what's his name, John Howard, saying how politics isn't his profession, it's his life. And you know, I'm not saying that I'm like pro John Howard or anything, but like just the fact that he was saying that it's not just about, it's not your job, it's who I am and what I do. And I think for me, like art and illustration, all that stuff, it's not necessarily, you know, this thing I do to get paid. Like I'd be doing it, I do it for free because I like doing it as well, you know, and I'm always going to do it. I don't think there'll ever be a time, you know, you'll have to cut both my hands off for me to not do it, basically.
And I think you're the type of person that would then learn to draw with your feet too.
Definitely.
Yeah, I guess I just like maybe some cool like progressive tap dancing art with paint or something.
That would be cool. If elephants can do it, so can you.
Oh, do they do that?
Well, maybe not tap dancing, but art. Leading on from that, and, you know, talking about what you wanted to do and everything like that, what sort of influences do you have, both like artistically as far as like, you know, artists and that you follow, but what influenced you?
Yeah, well, I think, like I said, you know, doing it was always just like, it was almost just flowing that way for me. That's just the way my life kind of went. It's good. I mean, I feel I've been really lucky in the sense that some people kind of don't know what they want to do as they get older, or they're going to uni, like, oh my god, what do I do? You know, where am I going to go with my life? But I've always had this thing, you know, that like, I'm good at it. I'm pretty good at it. I like doing it. I'll continue and see where that goes. And, you know, that's just evolved into, you know, what it is now. And I don't think when I was younger, I think I actually really liked Garfield and stuff, and looking back now, I'm like, oh my god, why? But, you know, like I was a really big Calvin and Hobbes fan, I think. Like Bill Watterson's like super talented. And that was like probably my biggest kid influence, was probably him actually. But I was a big Sunday comics fan, I think, and, you know, always big into anime and, you know, Saturday morning cartoons and all that stuff. Like the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, I love that cartoon.
I've never even heard of that. Now I'm going to go and watch it.
Have you guys never heard of that? It was so good. I think I'm a little bit older than you guys though, so maybe it's a bit of a different era. But like, it was like anyway, that was the whole thing. That was cool. Like just weird fantasy stuff. Like I remember, I thought that, what's the Ghibli movie with the bugs? I've forgotten the name of it.
What, that Monarchy?
Not Princess Mononoke, the other one. I'm so angry that I can't remember the name of this. So let's pretend that we just said the name of it. But anyway.
If only we had a machine we could type in.
Yeah, some sort of, yeah.
Some kind of Lugal, is it?
Yeah, some sort of little rectangle connected to the knowledge of all of humanity.
Ask Jeeves it.
But there was that movie. Oh, I'm so annoyed. I want to know it before you write it down. This is such dead air. I'm so sorry.
Is that the one Nausicaa?
Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. Yes,
Yes,
Nausicaa and the
that's
Valley of the
good.
Wind.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, we'll edit it just for
Yeah.
that.
No, I'm leaving that in there. Like, the frustration is real.
No, so yeah, Nausicaa, like I remember thinking that was like super cool, but I actually thought it was a dream because like it was such a scary movie for a little kid, and I thought it was like this nightmare thing that I had, and then like I saw it as a 20-year-old on TV once. It's like, oh, that's a real thing that happened. But then like, and that's earlier on, and then as I got older, I became like a real big Drew Struzan fan. I'm a huge Drew Struzan fan. And I still try to, like, I still accidentally find myself drawing in that style because I don't think he really... Now there's a bit of a re-insurgence of people liking that style and people are doing it more again, but I think people maybe about over the last 5 or so years steered away from it. So, and then modern illustration's so different now. You've got people like, just like really more broken down, simplified art. Like, I mean, your sort of Adventure Time style stuff and like modern agency work. Like all the guys at Jackie Winter do really unique stuff, but it's so different to traditional illustration. So I guess I'm trying to steer into that.
Going back to Struzan though,
Yeah.
2 things. Firstly, like for those that don't know, what has he worked on that people would recognise?
Everyone recognises Drew Struzan work, and even if you haven't seen it, even if you think you haven't seen it, you've seen it. Like, the most iconic movie posters of all time are actually all by one guy.
Yeah.
So Back to the Future, Harry
Indiana
Potter,
Jones.
Indiana Jones, and Star Wars are like
Cowboy.
Well, that Hellboy one's good. I think that's almost a bit of... That's like just a singular one, but like all the kind of big movie franchises he's touched, over the past 30 years, done some amazing stuff. But he even did a bit of mock-up stuff for like the latest Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
But I think they just were like, oh, this is not really where we're taking it. But that whole thing was a bit of a shit show. So
Interesting fact, I watched the Struzan documentary at Zach's house.
yeah, you did.
This is going back a couple of years ago now. He was really amped to show us all because we're all like art buffs and stuff like that. He fell asleep during this documentary.
I curled up in the corner, had a Corona, and had a little nap
He
towards
did.
the
He
end.
fell asleep. That was
really
how
bad.
good he was into that.
What an endorsement of the artist. To everyone, pay attention to this artist. I fell asleep.
Yeah, admittedly I've seen it like a few times. But
Yeah.
it was like 5 o'clock on a Saturday. I needed a little beer nap.
We did have beer nap.
What have you been working on most recently? Particularly in the comic realm. Let's look at that.
Yeah, well, I actually finished my first full-length comic last year called I Am Ned, and I did that under the kind of, well, not the tutelage, but like the guy who created it is a guy named Max Myant, who lives in Brisbane, who created this world where like intelligent zombies had kind of taken over Planet of the Apes, Mad Max style, like the world had become, and Australia specifically, because it is set in Australia, is like this post-apocalyptic war zone. They've taken over and they've built their own kind of cities, monkeying and imitating like human life. And humans are being like herded into these kind of farms where they're, taken away and eaten, and like it's all like militarized and really grim. And then one man kind of fights back who dons a kind of Ned Kelly style armor, almost kind of like with a bit of a Dark Knight flavor in the terms of his like, future ferocity and vengeance and stuff. And he's just like taking the fight back to them. And the first comic is about like his kind of him attacking like a harvester farm, and where humans are herded to be like processed. And that's the first issue. Is like he just busts in and beats the shit out of some zombies basically.
You have to tell him about the sidekick.
The sidekick? Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And actually she's probably almost more inside, and gosh, I hope Max doesn't, I'm not butchering a part of Max's story a bit, but like, Christy is like, kind of like his side, kind of like Ned's sidekick, but she's almost a protagonist, I would say, because she plays a bit more of a heart, and I think when you've kind of got your Batman characters who are very stoic and very, almost like kind of like that steely kind of brutal perfection in some ways, like they're hard to access, you do need that more human side, and she provides that. And I think it's a really good way for people to jump onto it as well.
I was actually alluding to the zombie in the cage.
Oh, okay, slightly more interesting. Yeah, sorry.
No, I mean, like, it's good to touch on that, but yes.
That's true, yeah, basically, like, yeah, his sidekick is this, like, cage on a chain that he carries with, like, a zombie head in it, and the zombie head knows how to speak zombie and English, so he helps him translate, and you don't know whose side the zombie head is on, but he's just kept in the cage, so it's not like he can do much about it. And just kind of like a real foil to Ned in some way.
He sort of does offer that sort of comedic relief.
Yeah, you're right, because it is pretty gory and bloody. Like, I don't usually, like, when I'm drawing for myself, I don't really draw a lot of gory stuff. Yeah. And so this was fun, because I just got to draw really gross shit, which is awesome.
when you were a kid and you were instinctively just drawing
Yeah.
as a matter of just create for creation's
Yeah,
sake
sure.
and for self-expression, how did you go from just that
Yeah.
to realizing it was something that you could do
Yeah.
to make money while also getting to draw gory shit?
It's like that's tough. Like I think there's just everyone has their own personal journey. I think
Yeah.
when you do creative stuff, and I'm sure it's exactly the same for you guys, where you do it for fun,
Yeah.
and then you're like, how do I take this into something professional, but then also professional and fun? Like
Yeah.
I think, and that's the dream. I think that's the dream for everybody, right? Is to get paid to do what you love.
Yes.
And for a long time, like I guess I didn't do that. Like I was doing stuff, and then people were like, oh, we want you to draw, a picture of our family for Christmas. And like, yeah, like it's, and I'm not taking away from that because ultimately, like I've got this a bit of a theory that like no matter what you're drawing, as long as you are drawing, it's what you want to do anyway. So like you're kind of winning. And you're always going to have preferences according to what you do. But I think that like, because now I'm in a really good position where I love my job and all the freelance projects that I take on, I only take on what I like really. So I get to choose the good things, and I think as you get older, you get better at what you do. You spend you spend your probably your teens and most of your 20s kind of learning, and it's only when you get to at least for me, like your 30s, you're actually getting kind of good at what you do, and that's when people go, oh, I want this person to do the thing for me, not I need someone to do it, I'm just going to find someone.
Do you feel that that's a trap people sometimes fall down, is that they hit their 20s, the period you're talking about in their 20s, where they're doing what they love and what they want to do, but they're not getting the results that they want from it in terms of a financial income or a status or a celebrity, whatever they're after. And that's the point where they give up and think that they need to change course and become something else.
I think like that, and that sucks. Like you got to follow your dreams. Like everyone should in any pursuit, really. I think a big part of it, and I'm still like learning this too, because I have this big frustration around like, or maybe I draw so much. Why don't maybe more people should know about my work? If I'm always putting it out there. What am I? I think the work that I do is really good. Maybe like why am I not getting more exposure or something like that? And maybe other people have those frustrations. And I think when you're learning, that's definitely more true. Like there are people who are much more commercial than others, and that's always going to be the case. Some people are really good at going on. Here's my style. Here's my voice. Here's what I do. It resonates with people. Therefore, I'm going to shoot off into the stars. And I think we've all got friends who've done stuff like that, and that's amazing. I have to admit, I'm probably not as good at that. Like consistency has never been my thing. Like I just draw what I want, and one day if it's like like a little lock-up of like a Dragon Ball Z character doing something weird, that's cool. But then if the next day it's like this kind of really super rendered zombie, like great, super cool, but like obviously no consistency in voice. And I think something that people need to learn to do is like art direction. And if you can art direct yourself and kind of be able to objectively look at your work in any creative pursuit and go, okay, like if this wasn't my work, just say like, I was looking at another artist thing, I go, all right, obviously those legs are too long, or obviously, he's not using the right colors to maybe make it pop as much as he wants to, and then, I'd be able to say that for that person's work. If you can say that for your own and then correct that stuff, I think that's when you're going to evolve more quickly, and you're going to be able to go, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to do? And you're going to be able to say and do those things.
Do you have any tips for, let's say, artists that have been in the position that you were in? Any suggestions or tips that you'd give them?
I'd say approach, and this is just my advice, and I think other people would probably give different advice, and it also depends on your personality. So if you're a similar person to me, I would say, always be open to criticism, and always want to learn. Like don't ever think, oh, I'm great, I'm good, I don't need to learn anymore, I just need to get my work out there, and why don't people like my work? Just go, okay, maybe if I'm still needing to understand more in order to become better at what I do, I need to kind of look to other people and kind of take in what they're saying. I think another thing is that, there's that saying that we all have 1,000 or 10,000 bad drawings in us, and you just got to get them out. So just draw and draw and draw. You should be drawing. You don't have to be drawing every day. This is like the Vegeta versus Goku school of training, where I used to do the Vegeta, I think, and you just be grinding constantly and getting so angry and frustrated, like, why am I not as good as Kakarot style shit? And then, and then Goku's just like, chilling out, oh, I'm gonna go to the time chamber for a while, then I'm gonna go hang out with my son or something. Like, just, you take it easy and have a good life, but I think you need to have that resting, that balance. But you gotta work hard and play hard. I think you really do need to practice. You can't rest on your laurels. I think luckily I have, like I'm reasonably talented, so I can a bit, which is not good, because then as a result I don't have any commercial application, whereas some people just go, alright, I'm going to draw a thing, I know kind of how I want it to go, I'm going to do that. But I would say, yeah, definitely be open to learning, don't be too sensitive to criticism, because unfortunately I guess you're probably going to be shit if you're still learning, not shit, but there's still room for improvement, right? So, understand, that's okay. Learning is not an easy process. If it was easy, then everyone would learn to do everything. So just kind of understand that it is this evolving process and practice. Always be practicing. Find people who aren't as good as you, find people who are much better, talk to them, always be talking to other creative people. Learn from people who are much better than you and take that information and pass it forward. Yeah, I think it's really good to be collaborative. I'm a really collaborative creator and I love doing that. So yeah, that's what I would say to people who are...
And obviously you've got everyone knows or should know that art is subjective.
Yeah.
What you're into, or the art that you're into isn't going to be for everyone.
No.
And people are into whatever art they're into for a reason. So there's not necessarily good or bad art.
I'd say that's true. And if you find a community of people who you like doing work with, and maybe, and you guys are off doing your own thing and everyone's having a good time, go do that. You can do it in a bubble.
Yeah, can't go wrong that way, right?
No, I think do what gets you going. You don't have, I think if you set out to be, I'm going to be the best artist in the world, you blew it.
You blew it.
Just don't. I think that's not a great reason to become an artist. I think that's a terrible idea. Do it for the passion. Do it because you like it, or do it because you want to cater to something. I don't know. I think just going, I'm gonna be the pirate king.
I think that's a valuable insight. I don't think anyone should ever start any creative process aiming to be the best, because the best creative is not a thing that exists.
Yeah. And I think the yardstick is always moving forward, but it's also kind of shooting off in weird directions depending on what everybody likes. And then by that rationale as well, there's 30 yardsticks in 30 different spots. You know what I mean? It's what you want to be the best at, but you should always want to be the best you can be. But I think to say I just want to be the best, yes, not the best.
It's like Iceman and Maverick, right? Iceman wants to be the best pilot. Maverick also wants to be the best pilot, but he has fun while doing it.
Right.
And that makes him better than Iceman.
I have never seen Top Gun.
Whoa!
Okay.
Zach is
Bye, everyone.
battle.
Bye. Yeah, I blew it.
People who have... We introduced this for a one-off. Radults podcast plays Radult or Badult for one topic.
Oh, God.
Mike, Radult or Badult? People who haven't seen Top Gun...
Battle.
I'm sorry.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, you need some sort of toilet flushing. What's the other movie I haven't seen? It's Teen Wolf. I never saw Teen Wolf either.
Well, you're not really missing out on much.
Yeah, how can you get me a
Have
free
you
pass
watched-
on Teen Wolf and not a free pass on Top Gun?
Because Teen Wolf is Teen Wolf. Watch the Teen Wolf cartoon, though. That's
Yes.
good.
Okay.
Teen Wolf
really good.
lacks homoerotic volleyball footage.
That's true. Oh, and we're doing it for the boys. We're having fun with the boys. That song that comes on. I know about that song.
Yeah. It's,
Hey, they're having a good time.
Alright, confession for people, just so he doesn't feel alone in this.
Yeah.
For years and years and years, I've been able to understand and interact with people around Star Wars, but I only actually watched my first full Star Wars film 3 years ago.
Amazing.
I'd never actually seen Star Wars.
That's so good.
and you criticised me for not being a fan of Metallica.
I'm not a fan of Metallica either. Sorry.
I'm not going to criticize you for not being a fan of Metallica now.
Yeah. That's fair, actually. I used to love Metallica. Yeah.
Look, long story short, I said that, you know how as you get older, you become aware of music. When you're a kid, you listen to whatever, right?
Totally.
the first Metallica stuff that I was aware of and paid attention to was Saint Anger.
Oh god.
Yeah, look, that was the same reaction that I got.
Yeah, that's a tough sell.
I became Saint Anger for a moment at that point when you mentioned that. Now, apart from movies you haven't seen, what would you say the biggest challenges you face in your current role are?
Oh, like as in just illustration in
Illustration
general?
in general.
Yeah, it's consistency, I think.
Yep.
Consistency, because I kind of like, I've got a very impulsive way of creating and drawing, I guess. Like, I kind of just, like, in my, I say you shouldn't set out to be wanting to be the best, but I kind of just want to be good at everything when it comes to drawing. There's arguments for people who should, like, specialize, and arguments for, like, maybe not, being versatile. And I actually really enjoy being versatile, like, doing really simple cartoony stuff, then, like, kind of more realistic things, and maybe abstract and not. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And, like, I say this, and in my mind, I'm really versatile and do a lot of different things, but then people are like, oh, that's just more of Zach's work.
No,
like,
I think that you are. Like, I mean, I know your comic work, through I Am Ned. I've seen your other design work that you've done, like the Kylo Ren piece and stuff like that you did. And then at the moment, like, I think that you're making waves with all, like, the simple line art stuff.
People love that stuff. It's crazy.
But you know what? And
I think that's modern illustration, though.
Yeah, but you're doing it. And you're doing it, and you've made it not so much a niche, because obviously other people are doing it and stuff like that, but, you've taken this idea, you've made it into your own thing by, like, for instance, like, doing, like, the neon lights and stuff like that. And stuff like that, and you've made it that art is now, like, interactive.
Yeah, it has. Actually, that's true. It's been really fun. Like, so I don't know. I decided on the 1st of January this year that I would draw a picture every day, and a friend corrected me because I said that I was at the pub the other day with him in it, and I go, I've been drawing a picture every day. He's like, no, you've been posting a picture every day, because, like, I will pull shit out. Like, if it'll be like a Friday night at 1 o'clock, I get back from the pub, I'm like, I'm not drawing anything tonight, and I'll just go back through, like, my 2012 drawings or something, just pull something out and post it. Just like, I'm so tired, I can't do it. But that's only happened a few times. But that's been really good. It's been this really good way drawing a picture every day, pretty much, to just kind of try things and muck around and play with ideas. And, like, most of the time, like, the drawing doesn't have to be, like, Jake Parker, who's a really talented illustrator, said, finished not perfect. And that goes for basically any creative pursuit ever.
Yeah.
You should always be finishing work. You should never be starting it. I know that's a weird and dumb thing to say, but I think just finishing work is really important, because we all have these great ideas. And like, oh, I'm gonna start a band, and then you start a band, but you never finish any songs. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So I try to, and this has been a good way to finish stuff and get better at finishing things. And just trying stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the same with the podcast. Was like, it's easy enough doing one episode and saying, oh yeah, you got a podcast. It's like, yeah, but it's one episode, mate. Yeah. You got to keep that going.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm doing that right now. We've done 3 and none of them have been edited or anything, me and a mate, so yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
so you guys are doing great.
But I mean, like, you've shown that you've built that discipline, and I think that's something that I've been told the same thing. It's so easy, and you've probably been saying the same sort of thing. It's so easy, like, for me to, like, start writing a script for a comic.
Yeah, totally.
Get all the good ideas out on, like, paper, and then just not, like, executing anything. I just leave it at that. It's never finished. It's
there's a thing in music called the 2-verse curse. Which exists, and nearly every songwriter you speak to will have this. They'll have songs that they've written the first verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, and then the second verse but they never managed to write the bridge. Yeah. And without the bridge, it's not a song. Yeah. Right? So without the middle 8, it's not a song. Yeah. So they'll get to a point where they've said everything they wanted to say within the space of 2 sets of bars, and then they either have to make the decision to make that song end, which wouldn't make sense in many instances, or just sit on it till the inspiration comes to finish it. Most people never finish those songs. It's what come out as box sets, like home box sets, like when Rivers Cuomo releases a Weezer rarities collection, and it's like 26 songs, all of which have no middle 8.
Well, look, or you just
that must be hard to listen to.
Yeah. Or you just start a hardcore punk band where, like, all songs go for 1:20 and you set.
Yeah, and the Spotify algorithm will love you.
Yeah.
I think maybe that could apply in other fields of art where you are struggling to finish something. Just finding that last bit of inspiration, and when it strikes, just doing it.
Yeah. what I was going to say is Deadmau5, I think he said in some interview or something once that he feels like he can get most of the kind of language of a song out in like 4 bars or something, like something weird like that, super, super short, and then the rest of it is just kind of like working on the top of that, which I've always found like, I don't think there's many musicians who would ever say anything like that, but...
No.
Apparently
it's not something that if I was like that I'd admit to either.
He's super, like, he's such a contrarian though. Like, he's just really, he's kind of a bit of anti-everything, you know what I mean?
I think now's probably a good time for the rad break.
It probably is.
Oh god.
So the rad break we're going to engage in today, we're actually going to do 2 with you real quick. The first one is going to be one that we've just invented for you. It is Avril Lavigne, Alive or Dead.
I think it's too insane that she's alive.
Do you reckon it was really Lyme disease?
I don't know about that part of it.
Oh,
No,
so supposedly...
I just know it was like she for people who don't know, that people think she was swapped out, right?
Yeah, they think she was swapped out with
That's so
someone
insane.
else.
That's so insane.
And I mean, look, to be honest, like...
I love conspiracy theories.
Yeah, but to be honest, like, they go, but she looks so different. I was like, yeah, she was like, disappeared for however long, like, she's going to look different.
Yeah. Did she disappear for a while?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean, when's the last time you heard of her except for this song, right?
Yeah, but when's the last time you heard what, like...
Jonathan Taylor Thomas was
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
Because he disappeared.
He disappeared too.
Yeah, so supposedly
Yeah.
the reason why like she stopped doing music and everything like that and no one knew where she was she was like diagnosed with Lyme disease.
And she died.
Whoa.
And,
Well,
and that's what he's saying, she died, and then they replaced her.
No, the theory is not anything to do with the Lyme disease, just that she died and like she got replaced. But she came out and said, no, I have Lyme disease.
Yeah, which is a dumb... No, it's not dumb to have Lyme disease. It's dumb.
I don't think she
Which
chose
is
that.
dumb. Yeah, why would you choose that?
It's dumb to marry Chad Kroger and end up with Lyme disease, which I think are probably not mutually exclusive events.
Too much, like too much.
And that Chester, whatever his name is. His name Chester?
No, she was with
Weebly?
Derek
Wigley
Wigley from Sum 41.
It's the greatest name of all time.
So, I mean, yeah.
Derek Wigley.
D Weebly. D
Make-
Weebly.
Ooh, that's so tough.
She's got a thing for Canadian musicians. It's,
Well, you know,
Well,
she's not
she's
meant to.
she is a
Canadian.
Canadian. Yeah. She likes skater boys, I heard.
Oh god. No, there's because you know Scatman died, the guy who sung Scatman.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, he died forever ago. But it's not like anyone went, you know what, this isn't over. Let's find some other dude with a hat and a little moustache and let's get him going. Let's get him
So
back
it's
in
not
there.
like-
That,
It's not like Tupac, how everyone thinks that he's still alive and
Yeah,
living in,
Tupac,
like-
alive or dead. This is
oh, dead.
Yeah, he's
Like,
dead. He's not in Thailand.
yeah.
Like that.
Like the whole, yeah, like you with Elvis and Die or something like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Before we segue back into the actual podcast itself,
Sure.
I wanted to play one more rad break with you.
I love the rad breaks.
And this one is called Rad or Fad.
Okay.
And we ask you if something is rad or if it is a fad.
Okay. Alright, you ask me. Great.
Yeah, okay, so
Please do what you said you would do.
Star Wars,
Yes.
Galaxy of Stories. Rad or fad?
Yeah, it's like I said before, I don't care. Like, I just Star Wars is yeah. I usually what happens is those movies come every time a Star Wars movie comes out. That goes into like the pile of movies that I just watch over and over and over again. Everyone has those movies that they've just seen a million times, right? I've seen Force Awakens like maybe twice or 3 times, and I've seen The Last Jedi. Well, twice in the cinema, admittedly, but I had to go see it with my family for Christmas. But like, it's just, but I have no compulsion to watch it again because I think I'm pretty Star Wars out. Like,
Do you think that they should stop with Star Wars stuff for now?
well,
Do you
they
reckon
kind of
they should-
have. Like, they're not doing this new Boba Fett thing they said they were going to do. They were going to do the Obi-Wan movie. They cancelled that.
Yeah, but because after Solo, why?
Yeah, Solo got so fucking... Yeah, and I watched that on a plane. I was really drunk, and I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then I said to a friend, yeah, that was fine. He's like, no, it wasn't. I was like, thought about it for 2 seconds. Like, oh yeah, you're right. That did suck.
You know what?
it
Like,
just-
it's because it could be any other movie,
Mm.
right? You think about it. If they just made that movie without Star Wars, put in
Yeah.
a different character and stuff like that, it probably would be an alright movie.
I think people might like it more just because Star Wars is always going to get a hard time,
Exactly.
especially at the moment. But also, you know, you think about what a good job they've done with producing all this Marvel stuff. Like, you know, it's all just really well put together and well thought out, and maybe some of the movies aren't as good as the others, and there's, issues with like the music, or like maybe, everyone says they look really drab or something, but I think, to create a whole bunch of movies in the same world over a decade and still have them bringing in all this money and people still actively excited about seeing them is a really great achievement. It would have been great to see them do that for Star Wars, and just people are caring less and less and just hating it more and more.
I think that Star Wars, unlike the Marvel Universe, is suffering from the Disney curse. Like,
what's the Disney curse?
Well, more like just where they believe that like more is better. So they then like just oversaturate just the market with this sort of stuff.
Well, it is the thing where they maybe they don't have a plan, or they don't know what to do, so they just think just keep adding more and more and that'll solve the problem. But then when everything you add is shit, like it's like, when you've got like a big bucket of white paint, every single bad thing that you put in is only diminishing the overall quality.
Yeah.
Like, and the metaphor there, I guess, is that the original trilogy art is the white paint, and everybody loved that. And you go back and maybe they're not as good as they used to be, and that's always going to be the way of these things. But all they're doing is adding more, and none of it's white again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great. So that was exciting.
We now have like a grey franchise.
Franchise.
Well, do you reckon that's more beige?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, like it's fuchsia.
Yeah,
It's fuchsia.
But like this new thing it's like a recap of the new Star Wars thing. It's like a recap.
Yeah,
of the
it's a
movies,
recap in animated shorts that are supposed to introduce children into the story that's happened up until the point of the modern movies.
Yeah, like supposedly just the first 6 movies.
Well, that makes sense because everyone tries to still pretend that the prequels don't exist. I have a soft spot for the prequels.
I have a soft spot for Jar Jar Binks.
Well, you need to leave.
Jar Jar
I'm
Binks.
just being booted from my own.
What?
I'm sorry. So, you mentioned before that you work in graphic design. As well. That's an area where you get a lot of direction from clients in a lot of instances.
Sure.
What's the most unusual request you've had from a client working in the graphic design field, and did you do what they asked?
As you move ahead, you kind of get better at kind of telling people that their ideas aren't very good, but in the nicest possible way, and then actually going, look, maybe that's not the way we want to do it because of X, Y, and Z. How about we do this, which is a compromise, so you get what you want, but like in a way that's probably going to be a bit more successful. And that doesn't always work. They just make it brown anyway. Like, that's always going to be a thing. In terms of like weird stuff, would have been much better if I had time to prepare, because I've done some really dumb stuff over the years where they just ask for weird things. I don't know, I had this job once where like my boss wanted me, he had like a week of like kind of seminars he was doing at our work, like where it was, like through over 3 days there were like a bunch of like classes that he was doing, and basically he was sending me, that's right, he made me make it in Illustrator, even though you could have totally just made it, like he could have done it himself in Excel, like it's an internal document. It's like, no, make it nice, I want this to be nice and presentable, so we're printing it on A4 sheets to give out to people, so I guess that's nice. But anyway, and then like I did it once, I'm like, here you go. He's like, alright, cool, I'm gonna just make sure that's where I want all the things to be locked into for the days, and I'll get back to you. And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then like half an hour later he came back with like circles and arrows and all this stuff over this page, going, can you move them all around? I'm like, yeah, right. And then that happened 20 times, and like halfway through I'm like, man, why don't I make an Excel spreadsheet so you can copy and paste them around? He's like, no, I want you to do it. It's like, this is the worst. And it's one of those moments where you kind of just stare blankly into the distance and question every single part of your life. Like,
and there's like a sad REM song.
Yeah, and it's just like, if I just like took off my shirt and ran into the sunset right now, would that be a better option than just sitting here for longer and doing this horrible thing?
The answer is always yes.
Yes, I should have done that, actually.
And filmed it.
Yeah.
And Fabio goes past on a white stallion as well.
He's like, I can't believe it's not butter.
Outside of that and everything, how do you manage to balance your work-life balance?
Oh, I don't. So yeah, like no, I'm terrible at it. Like I've gotten better at it this year, where for maybe the past like 10-15 years, when you decide that the art style you like is like a Drew Struz and all like photorealistic, concept art stuff, and you're actually not, and you're still learning how to do it, and maybe you're not doing best practice stuff, you spend a lot of time just behind a desk, and you're not prioritizing like hanging out with your friends or whatever, so that's hard. But this year I've kind of, because I spent 8 months of last year working on that comic, which was great. I learned a lot about myself, and it was a really good experience. I've said I always want to do a full comic all the way through, but really took a lot out of me, and I was
remember that.
Yeah, I was pretty cooked at some points, especially working full time and then doing that. I just decided like after this I'm gonna like focus a bit more on the balance, which I do, which is good. Don't get as much drawing done, but then again I just went, you know what, I'm just gonna draw things that are a bit easier style and probably take about a quarter of the time, and so I've done more drawing this year in the past couple of years combined, and I've still got way more free time. So yeah, I guess you just gotta like I don't know how to recommend the work-life balance. You guys are probably the same, you're doing all this you have all these creative pursuits you want to do, but then, how do you find a way to balance it? I guess you just find a way, right?
Yeah, you just do things.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
It sounds simplistic, but it's true. Like, procrastinators annoy the hell out of me.
Yeah,
like, in a way that I'm almost affronted by their lack of self-belief or their lack of ambition and drive. And it can be one of those things where you can't do it for someone though. So you can't look at their idea and go, no, look, this needs to be acted on now. You need to do it. It has to be them.
I think procrastinate, I don't know, like I feel like, because I used to procrastinate a lot. Still probably, I don't think I do as much as I used to, but I still do. You gotta like get it into bite-sized chunks or look at the project and there's gotta be something you hate about it, I think, in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're procrastinating on something, you obviously don't want to do it for a reason. If you can find out what that thing is and maybe even take it away, then you're going to do the thing you want to do, right? Like, there's a reason. I don't know, like, actually, I think someone said this to me once. It was like, if you're procrastinating on something, think about why you want to do it. Like, and if you can think about, like, I don't know, like, if it was I had to draw I've got to draw a picture of a cockatoo at the moment eating a slice of pizza. Okay, and I actually do want to do that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. In fact, I just got feedback from the client, and he said, "Can you put sunglasses on it?"
Yes.
I was like, yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was going to do that. I'm like, oh, maybe that won't be serious enough.
Why would it not have sunglasses?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Why would a cockatoo not have sunglasses, Mike?
I don't know.
Well,
I really don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure the cockatoos should.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the one outside does.
There is. I just gave him the shocker. For the people that don't can't hear. But no, I like, and I don't know, like I was feeling a bit lazy about doing it this afternoon before I came here. I was like, I don't really want to draw this thing. And you do that thing where you go, what's the one thing about this thing that I've chosen to do that I like? And I'm like, well, it'll look cool. And then I was like trying to think about how it's going to look. And then I was like, oh yeah, I want to draw the bit on like a bit of his hair. That'll be really cool. Oh, I should put the hair up instead of back because that's kind of cool. It'll look like he has cool hair, like feathers. They're called feathers on a bird.
Yeah, like a mohawk sort of.
And so I like started doing that. I'm like, oh great, I'm already doing it. And if you can think of those little, just the bit, you don't like, because I think when people procrastinate, it's because it's a big task that's a pain in the bum.
Yes.
If you can find that one little bit that you want to do and then just do that, then you're going to start doing things. But actually, the way that I cheat procrastination is I'll always put off doing the most important thing. So what you should do is have two things that you're doing at once that are both almost equally important, and you're always going to inch one to be more important than the other, and you'll always work on the second most important one. I don't know, and I find that's just a good way to kind of just keep... And like, then I'll get sick of it, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to work on that thing anymore. I know, the other thing's way more fun, I'll go work on that.
Yeah.
And then I work on that for a while, I'm like, oh, that's boring and I hate it. I'm going to work on the other thing. Yeah, great. And then I just keep inching them both forward. Actually, do that. That's what I do.
Do that. Take on more tasks than you have.
That's
too great.
Then freak out.
No, I think that's it. Like, I mean, obviously they're both illustrations, or like illustrative jobs, but it's probably good to have more than one creative outlet or like one thing that you're working on, because
you don't want to resent it, I think,
as
well.
And so it's the same with like, band members that may have side projects. You see so many that go solo outside of their band, or they go and do something that's vastly different to the band that they're in, because they just need to break it up.
Yeah, I think
because you'll end up resenting it. You'll be like, oh, I don't want to work on this. Like, I don't want to do anything. If you're in, the same band for 10 years straight, you go, oh man, like, you go do something else. And then it's that sort of thing that, it's probably the same with you. I mean, we've got the podcast.
Yeah.
just another creative outlet.
Yeah, totally.
It's just about, we don't even necessarily free up time. It's just about making time for it.
I think a big part of it as well is people do creative stuff and it almost needs to feel like this magical kind of fluid, organic experience where, you know, oh, it's just going to happen, it's going to magically come together, and when it does, I'm going to love every moment of it. But sometimes you just got to like, go, no, from 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock, I'm going to be doing this thing, and I've set the time, and this is the task I'm going to accomplish, and it's a job. It's a job I want to do, but it's still like a bit of a task.
That's a reality that I think most people end up hitting too, though, is even though you're doing something that's creative and that you want to do and a passion and everything like that, there has to be a level of grinding to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's going to, you know, writer's block is a thing, you know, like anything like that. There's work. You have to put in work. It can feel like work. You may enjoy it, but it's still work.
Yeah.
So you've got to like grind and like have that chisel and just start, you know, getting rid of, like you said, the difficult parts. Maybe do that first.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a part on like a piece that you're working on that you know that's going to be a pain in the ass, maybe work on that first. Get that out of the way so that everything else can be simple or like simpler.
Yeah.
What I want to know, talking about like outlets, and we touched on like side projects and all different like outlets, is at the moment, what artists, and I mean like art artists and musicians, should people check out?
Oh my god. Do you mean like traditional fine art?
No, like just like illustrative artists.
Yeah, sure.
And also musicians, because I know that you've got an eclectic taste of music.
Well, yeah, I mean, a mutual friend of ours, Mark Noble, just recently he said, I listened to the Drive soundtrack, what else can you recommend? And I went, and I like went through this huge list of like synthwave artists. I'm a big 80s guy, love my synthwave, I don't love my metal as much as I used to, but I reckon, what I'm looking forward to, sorry, that was a bit of a spattering there, is like at the end of the year when Spotify tells you like your top music and all that, I always look forward to that, because last year for me, my number one played song was one by I Built the Sky. Yep. Because I love I Built the Sky. Can't wait for the new album. But yeah, one of his tracks, or their tracks rather. Are they, I don't know, because the front man basically is a creative force, I think, but I don't know how they rock it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, sorry.
Let's just credit the artist and move on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this is going to take 10 minutes per thing. But like, I'm also like a massive Devin Townsend fan. Yeah. Like, I'm just obsessed. So yeah, I'm actually thinking after all my yearly pictures next year, I'm going to do like a big Devin Townsend piece, like spend about a month on it.
Cool.
Which would be really fun. Maybe tag him in it or send it to him or something. See if I get it. Yeah. See how it goes. He might care, he might not. But so yeah, Devin Townsend. But then like, you know, your 80s synthwave stuff. Oh yeah, and so for Devin, I reckon check out maybe his latest album for Devin Townsend project is amazing. And then Epicloud from a few years ago is really good. Ghost by him is one of my all-time favorite albums. Fantastic. Synthwave people to check out is like Dynatron. Check out Gunship Rocks. Carpenter Brute EP3 is probably my favorite one. That's got Turbo Killer on it, which rocks.
Are you a fan of The Midnight?
I actually, yeah. Oh, look, I'm going to say something. Look, I like The Midnight. I like his instrumental tracks a lot more than his vocal tracks. I think, it's Crockett's Revenge on his album of last year or the year before is such a great track. And then Lonely City towards the end of that album is really good too. I also have decided that a great little subgenre of music that kind of exists but no one really thinks about is when people from the mid-90s tried to make music themed with water levels of like video games or movies or whatever. Anytime they do the water stuff, it's actually really good from the mid-90s. It's got all this like tropical drums and like panning synths through it and really kind of undulating stuff.
Can you name it?
Like, I can, yeah, so Aquatic Ambience by from Donkey Kong. You must know that track.
Yeah, have you literally named it that? Like,
no, that's the name of the track, Aquatic Ambience.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
And even all the synthwave dudes love it and dudettes. But there's that. I was listening to some of the Waterworld stuff. There's because I watched that the other night and I actually really like that movie.
I was about to apologise.
No, I really like it. Like, look, just because I like something doesn't mean it's good.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'll go by that.
You like what you like, move on.
And so there's I think it was like Swimming. Swimming is a song to check out from that, and if you like that, then you'll like kind of. But having said that, then it does this really weird thing that another album that I'll get onto does, where all the water stuff is good, but then all the other stuff is not really. It's not very different or anything interesting.
Fuck you, land stuff.
Yeah. Fuck you, Len. Yeah, all the Len stuff is shit. But then Point Break is like such a good soundtrack.
Which
All
one,
the score. Oh, definitely the new one.
The new one?
The new one. I actually saw it in the cinema, which was a big hit.
Oh god.
Oh, because there was nothing out. It was my dad's birthday, so we went. He was like, "Oh, it wasn't too bad." Because like, you know, when you meet your dad. Yeah, like I was like, "Yeah, Dad, it was alright." And then my brother was there. He's like, "Nah, it was shit." I'm like, "Jordan, shut the fuck up, man." Like, Dad likes anything though. He loves any movie. But like, all the water stuff from the score for that by Mark Isham is really, really good. But then like all the action stuff is like weird 90s stuff. But yeah, so that's it. Oh, and the old Echo the Dolphin soundtrack from
Hell
those
yeah.
video games.
Jeez. Is that a Dreamcast game?
Hell yes.
No, from the old one.
It's a
the
Genesis
Genesis,
game, a Mega
yeah.
Drive game.
Yeah, that was sick.
They released an update of it for the Mega CD, but yeah. It was
And even the soundtrack for that's good as
Yeah,
well.
it is.
Yeah. See, yes.
I'm a Sega guy. It's,
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was always Nintendo.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Sega guy by accident. So my brother wanted a Nintendo
Yeah.
for Christmas in 1990 or
right.
something, and my parents weren't able to get one, or Santa wasn't able to get one. For any 8-year-olds listening.
Jeez, which I hope they're not. I've just put the
Beats
explicit
battle
tag
beat
on
through
them.
all of that. Yeah.
Also, congratulations to your advanced vocabulary, 8-year-old listening. They weren't able to get their hands on one, so they bought a Sega Master System.
Totally.
And it turned out to be great because it introduced me to the greatest video game that was
Alex
ever
the
invented,
Kid.
Alex Kidd in Miracle World,
Nice.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the single greatest
Wow.
level game of all time.
I haven't played that game in a long time.
It's incredibly frustrating to play as an adult.
Yeah.
The reason it's so frustrating is because you're just not as good at dealing with the concept of there being no save point when
Yeah,
you
right, of
are
course, yeah.
an adult.
Weird.
Once you die 3 times, you die.
Yeah, right.
Unless you've accrued extra lives.
Is that the one with the motorbike?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
the
love that
Yankin Pong game.
Yeah.
So rock, paper, scissors.
Because I was a Nintendo. We had a NES and then we got a Genesis. But all my friends had Super Nintendos. Always wanted a Super Nintendo.
Mine was NES, SNES, 64.
Oh.
Traded that in for a PlayStation 1.
Cool.
I think NES. You want to go NES, Super Nintendo, 64, but then probably PS1. I think maybe something like that.
In all
yeah, I don't
honesty,
know.
like it's one of those things that I think that the PS1 had better capabilities.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
over that, but then you had like classic games on like Nintendo 64, like GoldenEye, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I mean,
Yeah.
GoldenEye on throwing knives setting only. Greatest concept
no, I
ever.
did slaps only.
Slaps
Slaps
only.
Slaps no odd jobs, yeah. But then in terms of like artists for people looking at the moment, I've kind of shot off in a weird concept art thing at the moment. Well, not a weird thing, but like I do this every now and then where it's like, I'm kind of enjoying a lot more modern stuff. There's a guy like modern sensibilities. There's a guy on Instagram called Il Wookie that I really like. Who else do I really like? 8Decay is really cool. There's a whole bunch of really cool people who have got between like probably 5 and 10,000 followers who are doing amazing work, and I think genuinely as good as all your 20 to 50 to 100k people.
I like that we're like literally judging these people on like their
Just,
follower number.
Yeah, like just to give you a sense, I feel like because these guys, like some of these people are a bit less known, but I think they're really doing amazing work. Like, Fuck You Baker,
Yeah.
he's a Melbourne guy who's super cool. He's in I almost don't want to blow it up on here, but there's an amazing Facebook group called the Bone Zone that I'm a member of. And the Bone Zone is just a whole bunch of people posting cool skeleton pictures all day. and he's in the Bone Zone. But the Bone Zone's great. I love the Bone Zone.
Okay, it doesn't sound problematic at all.
No, because when you search it, the first picture that comes down in the little bar is like a skeleton with sunglasses on going, hey, and the next one is just a whole bunch of girls in bikinis, and I'm like, oh, get that out of here. That's what I'm here for.
That's the one you're a part of, isn't
Yeah.
it? Hashtag get boned.
So yeah, there's those guys, but I've gone off into a bit of a concept art thing at the moment. I'm really into a guy called Andrew Domachowski, who did some concept art for like the new Pacific Rim, and he does stuff for games and things like that. He's really talented. He's got like a really cheap tutorial if people want to check out on Gumroad, which is worth looking at. It's only like $5-10, and it's like a 3-hour long breakdown of him drawing a character from start to finish, and he talks through the whole thing.
Cool.
And he also talks about like his creative process through that. So you get to see his influences and stuff, because he's a really big fan of John Singer Sargent, who's like the famous Renaissance painter. Who's Renaissance? But I think and this is true of music as well, I think we were saying before, is like the people who are classically trained and give a genuine shit about classic art and creativity are generally more talented. I don't know, that's not right. Not more talented, but maybe have are more broadly informed and have probably a more powerful skill set than people who are just kind of all pulling from the same pot. And then the other guy I really like is Paul Chanson, or Chasson. I don't know how to say his name because he's French, but he does like this crazy concept art for like video games and movies and stuff. Like he did a lot of stuff for Blade Runner, but it's all buildings and giant spaceships and stuff. He did did you guys play Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah.
Do you see, Insomnia, the city? He did this whole picture of that city. Like, he just drew the thing, and I think he built some of it in 3D. But you can buy his, something of his, the tutorial from, I can't remember the name of the site, but it's like a couple $100. So I was thinking of buying it, but I think I'm gonna wait till after Christmas. Also, I don't ever want to draw like big, complex 3D buildings, but I still want to like go through all this stuff because it's so crazy. He's on Instagram as well, and he's on ArtStation. He's worth checking out too. Paul is pronounced like Chadison, or is spelt that way. It's definitely not pronounced that way.
I think it's really good to see how alive you are talking about these other artists.
Oh, yeah.
So watching your body language, which I know podcasting is not a visual medium, but I'm watching your body language, and you've become more open and and expressive and alive, and it's good to see that even though you're doing so well with your own stuff, that you're getting the inspiration and the output of that creation of other people still.
It's funny, I don't know, I think I have a habit of, even though sometimes maybe I probably come across as a bit of egomaniac, like, it's more like, I think my creativity and the stuff I do, it always takes a bit of a backseat to kind of just getting immersed in the other worlds people create. And I just love looking at stuff. Like, I think I recently tried to change my procrastination from going on to, like, maybe a Twitter or a Tumblr or YouTube or Instagram to opening up ArtStation and Behance. And then just having a bit of a scroll and looking at art, and that kind of inspires me, and then I'll actually start drawing again, rather than, or I don't know, there's that other thing that people do, and I still do this, where you look at it, you find art that makes you just go, oh, fuck off. You know, stuff that's so good that you're like, I quit, like, I don't even want to do it anymore.
Do you sort of balance that out and go look at the art that you think yourself is bad, and you go like, oh yeah, okay, cool, like, I'm good, I'm like...
Yeah, no, like,
do
sometimes.
Do you have to balance it? Do you find that, at least for your own sort of sanity, you have to balance it out and, like, deliberately look at what you find to be poor art, as opposed to, like, the ones that you like you said, oh, fuck off. Like,
yeah, no, I don't think I ever, I don't actively seek out other people's work to go like, oh, that shit, thank God I'm so good. Like, but, you know, and I don't think that either. Like, I guess I think it's just becomes a bit peripheral. You put your blinders onto it. Like, you just don't care, I think, about it. Or, like, or it just doesn't engage you, so therefore you don't kind of draw anything from it. You just kind of see it and go, all right, I looked at that and that was fun. I don't know.
Awesome. Well, I hate to break up this wonderful tangent we've gone off onto, but what the hell's with the gold tooth?
Oh God, the gold tooth. I don't know. Geez,
I worded him up about it before.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, this has to get on there.
All right. Well, look, I don't know.
Don't tell the listeners that.
But we're gonna lay it out. Do you know what tooth that is? Like, do you know the name of that tooth?
Well, it's not it's the one between your two front ones and your canine.
There you go.
So it's like, I don't know if you got the middle of your head is two to the left.
So the one of mine that got knocked out, got it.
Did you get one knocked out?
Yeah, it's replaced.
Yeah. You should replace it with a gold one, man.
I got offered that, but...
So yes, tell us about the gold tooth.
Well, there's nothing to tell. Alright, so I guess the story is that, like, I was walking around one day shopping with a mate, and we were in, like, general pants in in the city in Melbourne, and there was one of the people who worked there, she had a gold tooth. And I remember seeing it and just going, fuck, that's so sick. Oh, man. And I loved it. I was, like, so into it, and I was chatting to my mate about it, like saying, oh man, that's so cool, and like, that's how could she do that? I wonder why she has it and all this stuff. And he's like, dude, that was 20 minutes ago. You've been talking about it non-stop. Why don't we go back to the store and you can ask her? And I'm like, I feel like that's kind of rude. I don't know if I want to like just say to someone, hey, tell me about your face. Like, maybe she got it knocked out, or I don't know, like her tooth rotted out of her head or something. You never know. Anyway, I went up to her and said, hey, don't want to bother your butt. how'd you get the 2? She's like, oh, you can just do it if you want. And I was like, what? And
General Pants
like,
paying the big bucks.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, I just got it done. Yeah, love it. And I was like, all right, great, thank you very much. And the next day, because it turned out it was just a veneer, like it's just just a gold veneer. I booked in for a consult that week and kicked it all off and just got it done. So.
Do you think it's for life?
Well, apparently I'm going to be eating something in about like 10 years, and and if it's an apple, I'll bite it and it'll still be in the apple. But the good thing about gold is I can just get it and put it back in. So, yeah.
Interesting. Should have been a rad break all of its own.
Yeah, well, I wish I had, I wish, there was a story about me and a shark and like a hook that I had
think
to
that was better though, because
Yeah.
I know that was like the story, or like not so much the general pants thing,
Yeah.
but I knew that it was like pretty much like I want to get that done,
Yeah.
so it got done.
Yeah.
Like there was pretty much, there's no like
Was there-
higher being story to it. It was just like, I want that, I get that.
Since then, have you found yourself drawn to artists or other people that have gold teeth and been like, oh my god, we're this community?
Is there a
It blows my
Facebook group?
mind that there's not more people. I rarely see people who have it, and it still blows my mind a bit. Like, unless it's like, oh wait, you're the only dumb idiot who actually got one done.
If you were to, like, if you wanted to get that removed, how hard is it?
It's not hard. Like that's the kind of the good thing as well. It's like if I decided one day, it's like, oh, I'm like going into a corporate setting or something, and I wanted to like look a bit more professional.
I think it looks really professional.
Oh, dude, that's so baller though. You walk into a boardroom and everyone else is staring around thinking about their stock portfolios, and you just walk in, you got gold in your actual tooth, and they're like, "This dude fucks."
If you
Straight
were,
up.
if you have to go more corporate, you could just get it monogrammed, right? Get like a little diamond.
Yeah,
with
get
it.
something engraved into it.
Be
or
like,
something, yeah.
give me a 20 grand pay rise, and I'll get your logo on my tooth.
That's alright. I can imagine seeing like the golden arches on the golden tooth. So,
Oh my
maybe
god!
it could
I'm
happen.
a big McDonald's fan. I've got my commemorative '80s Big Mac coin.
Is that what that
right
is?
now. Yeah,
Jeez.
so it was the year of the Big Mac, and they released a whole bunch of commemorative coins.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is the the 1978 to 1988 Big Mac coin, and it's got a laser grid. It's got palm trees, and it's got like the sun setting in the background on it.
That is so 80s.
Yeah, and so we drew. So my mate got a '90s one, which has got like a cool Memphis design.
Yep.
Just drew holes, and then went to where did we go? Like Sephora or one of those Colette? We went to Colette in
Yeah.
like Northlands or something and got some chains and drew it and put them on the chains.
Awesome.
I like that you went to the effort of doing it.
Oh yeah, like but that's one of those things. You always say, oh, I'm gonna go do the thing. Oh, one day I'll do that thing that is like quirky or creative or whatever. And it's like, no, if you just set the tasks out and do it, and then you'll have a cool gold chain.
You will. I know you love conspiracy theories and you love
Yeah.
McDonald's, so how much did you love the story about the guy who rigged the Monopoly game for years on end?
What did he do? Tell me about that.
A guy who worked security for the firm that was entrusted with creating the scratch-offs
Yeah.
for the Monopoly game
Yeah,
at
right.
McDonald's, ran a scam for the first 15 years of that promotion,
Really?
where he took the winning ticket, the winning scratch-offs, from the French fries containers, and put them in a safe, and
Yeah.
then sold guaranteed wins to people all around the United States
Oh, wow.
via a third party.
That's amazing.
So they knew that there was $3 or $4 million prizes, right?
Yeah.
So he'd find people that couldn't be traced to him,
Yeah.
and then go to them and say, if you give me $100,000, I'll give you $1 million winning scratch off.
Perfect, yeah.
But you have to say you bought it from this McDonald's store on this day with this franchise, with this.
Yeah, right.
And he would arrange for the people to get those coupons.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did it for about 15 years, gave away millions and millions of guaranteed dollars, made
Wow.
him some money himself, built a house with it, everything, right?
Yeah.
Got undone by an FBI agent who managed to, seriously, when you see in comic books where they've got, or on TV, where they've
Yeah.
got the thing up on the wall with all the
Oh, with
pins
all the
and the
pins
strings
and- yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, wow.
He had to have done that.
That's
right?
amazing.
And laid it all out. And they're making a Netflix documentary about it.
Oh, I will watch that.
So
That's so cool. Wow.
you literally couldn't have won McDonald's.
Wow. Well, I guess because it's like
Monopoly.
false advertising by the company then as a result.
Of course.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
Because there was, I don't know what brand it was. It was maybe like Coke or someone weird, or Pepsi or something. They did that campaign where it's like, if you got enough of the bottle lids with a special logo on them or something like that, you could either win like $100,000 or a fighter jet. Something really, or like $1 million or a fighter jet. And it was like a real Bart Simpson elephant situation where like one dude finally got them all together and then was like, where's my fighter jet? And Pepsi was like, hey, the kid wants the fighter jet. Then there was like a lawsuit and all this stuff. I don't think he ever got his fighter jet though. Because you can't, like a civilian can't have a fighter jet.
No. But it's worth more than $1 million. So I understood the thought process he was going through.
Actually, yeah. Why would they have it? Yeah.
They're about. I think they'd at least be over $1 million. They're.
They'd be like
machinery.
A couple of 7 figures, like mid 7 figures, like 8 figures maybe. I don't know.
All I know is they spend a lot of money on the military in the United States. So I'm assuming that would have been a very, very expensive plane.
Yeah.
That probably dropped bombs on innocent children. Anyway.
Oh.
What Radults?
Yeah. You came back in a good time.
Yeah, I had dropped bombs. I was like, oh yeah, we're talking about Eminem or some military thing.
We're talking about a kid who wanted a fighter jet in a Pepsi competition. He won. And they didn't follow. They didn't follow through with the fighter jet. They just wanted to give him the $1 million.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, where's my fighter jet?"
Yeah.
It's like that episode of Simpsons.
Bart Simpson elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Stampy.
So, getting away from these massive detours we've taken, as fun as they've been, not everyone is open to tangents as I am. What are you currently working on?
So yeah, I'm doing the picture every day thing at the moment, which is going good. It's really super interesting to do because you find out kind of like, what do you find out? Just like what you create when you've got no ideas and you're burnt out creatively and you're tired and it's like, I'm still going to do something. Like, what am I going to put out there? Some of the best work I've done actually has come out of that, which has been really cool. So I've been working on that, and that finishes up on the last day of the year, and we'll see if I reflexively just keep doing it. I kind of suspect I won't. I need a break.
You should release it as an art book.
Yeah, a couple of people said that. I'm considering it, but then like some days just genuinely aren't that good.
Oh,
so.
I mean, obviously you can take those ones out, but you could just then do it as like a coffee table book. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I'll be the first person.
Oh, thanks, man. Doing that. Just picked up a freelance job today to do some Disney licensed stuff, which would be really cool.
Cool.
Just drawing a couple of little character things, concept art. What else is there? There's that. Drawing someone's tattoos. That's kind of fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, doing the cockatoo holding a slice of pizza.
It's up for a tattoo.
Yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
yeah, I'm really stoked. I'm gonna rework it a couple more times and send it back to him. So, and a friend of mine who is really talented has a brand called Symmetry, who do these like ethically kind of sourced and created handbags.
Cool.
And I've got to do some kind of instructional diagrams for her brand. So because it's also about teaching unskilled people how to do that kind of thing as well, to give people extra skills.
Awesome.
Yeah, so doing a bit of stuff for her as well. So.
That sounds
And
wonderful.
that's outside of full-time work, so great. I'm definitely not tired.
So you're pretty much doing like at least like the work of like at least 2 people.
I don't know. I've gotten very good at streamlining my process, let's say. So like I can get things out pretty short and sharp if I want to.
You are your own sweatshop.
Is that a crime? I don't even.
So we're going to go to the most important part of the entire show, apart from your name, because people need to know where to find you.
Yeah, sure.
Is what are your tips for being a Radult?
Oh God. I don't know. Compromise, but don't compromise too much. Be creative. Have fun. Be passionate. Have something you're into, man. Or woman. Or whatever person or creature you are. And if you want to pursue being a creature, do it. That's a passion. And I think that's what you do. If you want to be rad, just follow your dreams.
Yeah, and the very last thing is just plug your stuff. Where can they find your work?
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm always keen to talk about like creative projects if anybody wants to hit me up. But my Instagram's probably the best place, which is I am Zach S. So the letter I, A-M, Z-A-C-S. Yeah, and I have like a TeePublic account that's under the same name where I put up all my stuff. So if you wanted a shirt, because Mike's got three.
I actually wore one when
I
we
saw,
recorded
yeah.
our first podcast.
Is the LA New York one?
Yeah,
That Pokemon one.
The
Yeah.
coughing and wheezing one.
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, sometimes it's just about like a weird little idea, like the Master Roshi one that I drew the other night.
Yeah.
People really liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
obviously, if I'm wearing this stuff, it's good enough for other people, right?
Yeah, no, thanks, dude. It's so weird. See, like I really thought, like I don't know, I'm always like really, like think it's so nice of my friends to wear my shirts. Like,
I was gonna wear one today, but I didn't know if it would weed you out or not.
no, well, a friend of mine bought the one where I drew the butt with the saxophone in it, and we were just at the pub the other day. He's wearing his jacket, took it off, and he's got that shirt on, and he's kind of just like standing in front of me, but trying to be casual because I wasn't like looking directly at it. And he's like, "Yeah, so how are you, Zach?" I'm like, "Hey, it's the shirt." He's like, "Yep," and it's like, "All right, cool, thanks." But it was great. Yeah, really nice when people do that.
No, that's good. So everyone should check out the butt saxophone shirt.
Yeah, yeah. If you
Do
got
you have a favourite design?
Oh. Yeah, like the Master Roshi one at the moment, I don't mind that one. That was fun.
Describe it for our listeners.
Alright, so it's just Master Roshi's head. And he's just like, and you can see in the reflection of his sunglasses, he's looking at like Bulma in like her little rabbit outfit, and then he's doing like the blood nose thing that he does.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I've done but I'm doing a couple of those. I did like that the Pikachu one. But yeah, like I've been really having fun with kind of like the hyper neon colors, but then just using anime stuff with it. Like I really want to do like a Frieza one. I want to draw like maybe Frieza vs Goku or something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or do Frieza like merge with a Frieza? Like he's got like ice cubes coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, right.
Trademark. No, so thanks for joining us. Like it's been awesome fun. I've loved hearing your conspiracy theories and going off on these tangents.
Sure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been great.